Hello, everyone. Today, we're diving into a day that has become a really important part of the Easter season for millions, Divine Mercy Sunday. We're going to look at where it came from and unpack the powerful message of forgiveness that sits right at its very heart.
But let's start with the feeling I think we've all had at some point. That deep, deep desire for a fresh start, right? A complete and total reset. Well, what if there was a day that was dedicated to exactly that idea? You know, that very desire for a reset brings us straight to the heart of what we're talking about today. So first things first, what is Divine Mercy?
Okay, so Divine Mercy Sunday is a feast day, and it's always celebrated on the second Sunday of Easter. At its core is this absolutely profound belief that God's capacity for forgiveness, His mercy, is infinitely greater than any mistake we could possibly make or even death itself.
Now, this devotion actually has pretty modern roots. It comes from revelations given to a Polish nun, St. Faustina Kowalska. And it's so important to remember the context here. We're talking about the 1930s, a time of just immense global turmoil, right between two world wars. So this message of unconditional mercy arriving at a time of such profound darkness, well, that really helps explain why it resonated so deeply with so many people.
To really understand the timing and the whole tone of this day, we actually need to go back to the scriptures. The entire celebration is rooted in this incredibly powerful post-resurrection encounter.
The gospel reading for this day kicks off with four simple but unbelievably powerful words. Peace be with you. Just try to imagine hearing that in that specific moment.
The context here is absolutely everything. The disciples are terrified, they're locked in a room, they're afraid for their own lives. And into that space of absolute fear, the risen Christ appears, and not with judgment, but with a message of peace. It's just this dramatic, incredible pivot from fear to hope.
So, that powerful scene really sets the stage for the theological heart of the day. What are the key takeaways from this focus on divine mercy? What's it all about?
Well, the core belief is that mercy isn't something you earn, it's a pure gift. And this, of course, requires a leap of faith, an invitation to trust completely. But it doesn't just stop there. The idea is that once you receive this profound mercy, you're then called to extend that same compassion to others, creating this cycle. It all reinforces the ultimate point, that no mistake, no sin is too great to be met with forgiveness.
Now, if you've ever heard of Divine Mercy, I am almost certain you've seen the famous image associated with it. So let's take a closer look, because every single detail is just packed with symbolism.
The very first thing you notice are those two rays of light, right? The pale one represents water, and it symbolizes cleansing and baptism, that fresh start we talked about earlier. The red ray represents Christ's blood, which in this tradition signifies spiritual nourishment and new life for souls.
The rest of the image just reinforces that message. Christ's hand is raised in a gesture of blessing, and it echoes that very first greeting of peace be with you. And then right there at the bottom, the signature phrase sums up the entire devotion, Jesus, I trust in you. It's an explicit call to trust.
Okay, so we've explored the meaning and the origins, but how do people actually observe this day? What are the practices?
The practices of the day are this great blend of personal reflection and community worship. Attending Mass and going to confession are really central to that feeling of a total reset. Many people also pray a specific devotion called the Divine Mercy Chaplet. But it's not just about an inward focus. A crucial part of the day involves performing acts of mercy for others, taking that internal feeling and making it external.
So when you bring it all together, Divine Mercy Sunday is a day that's really focused on three things: accepting the gift of radical forgiveness, answering the call to trust completely, and then meeting the challenge to share that compassion with the world. And that leaves us with a final thought to consider. And this is for everybody, whether you're a person of faith or not. In a world that can often feel full of judgment and scorekeeping, what would it truly look like to practice radical mercy, both for ourselves and for each other?